You ever noticed how the internet can meme someone into a punchline, and then one day the feds show up and suddenly nobody's laughing anymore? That's exactly what's happening right now with Diddy. And the wildest part? It's not just gossip this time. It's warrants, it's indictments, it's footage people can't unsee. And 50 Cent? He's been saying, "I told you," for years. But here's the twist people keep missing. This isn't about one person's downfall. It's about a system that kept running even when the red flags were flashing in neon.
You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
I feel funny. Is this real life?
Yes, this is real life.
I feel crazy. The world is spinning around me.
Don't touch your stitches, Justin. Bieber, don't touch your stitches.
What's happening?
No. Bieber, stop.
You have 4 eyes. I have 2 fingers. I have 3 fingers. Is this gonna last forever?
Justin, stop it.
Ah!
Yeah, you pressing Bieber.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up? Like, I'm calling you, ain't answering.
Yeah, that was low.
That was weird.
That was crazy.
That was weird. They did not run through Bieber.
There was, why you not answering your phone? Like, yo.
So what's going on with you guys? Are you working together?
I'm not. I mean, I think that we become friends in a strange way, you know.
Like Robin Big.
Yeah. It's like exactly.
I'm digging it, Robin.
Yeah. No, I mean, to a lot of us, he's like a little brother. You know what I'm saying? He's not afraid to call and ask for advice. He's somebody that, in the industry-wise, the record industry is a strong family, and he's somebody that, you know, we definitely have our arms around, and we want to protect him because he's such genuinely a nice person. Besides his talent, you know what I'm saying? He's one of the greatest kids that you could ever know.
Justin, you know, Diddy bought his son a Bentley. Maybe, you know, he could buy you one also while you're out.
Got me a Lamborghini.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I haven't gotten it yet, though.
Yeah, I know. When is that coming, that Lamborghini? We talked about this last
He
time.
had the Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
And now what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. When he signed to Usher, I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
March 2024. Homeland Security Investigations executes search warrants at Sean Diddy Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami. Not bloggers, not paparazzi, federal agents. 2 coasts, an ongoing investigation tied to sex trafficking-related allegations. And according to reporting at the time, Combs denied any wrongdoing while the accusations kept stacking higher. But that's when the tone shifted, because when HSI gets involved, it's not celebrity drama anymore. It's something way more serious.
Look at Usher. What Usher say? I seen some things I shouldn't have been seeing at that age. What does that tell you? That he's seen some things, he was around some things when he was young that he shouldn't have been at a Diddy party. So that's going to show you that there are certain things that are happening that's going on that here it is, this kid was saying he shouldn't even seen it and been around it himself. So all the other celebrities who saw it and they stand quiet about it. Ain't that in our culture? No snitching. And I felt a certain way when Usher got on Shay Shay, and I don't mean to mention other people's platforms, but he got on Shay Shay and he mentioned how great and how good Puff taught him and everything. You know what I'm saying? About the business. Right? I know, and people know, that was around that in that time that Puff and Usher did have a situation. And that situation led Usher to the hospital. Now I let Usher explain that to y'all. I let Usher tell that story. But how dare you say a man that groomed you, you gonna give him a pass? Bruh, you know
And then the language got darker. Federal prosecutors didn't just talk about one incident or one messy breakup. The unsealed indictment described claims of a larger operation, an alleged criminal enterprise with a pattern of conduct, enablers, staff who allegedly helped things run smoothly. Now, whether every single allegation holds up in court or not, that framing alone changes everything. Because suddenly the question isn't just what happened, it's how long was this allowed to happen and who knew?
Dropped the song, it went over our heads. It's actually about P. Diddy this whole time.
Which video?
The song Lonely.
Let me see.
Everybody knows my best. I'm so with maybe that's the price you pay for the money and fame at an early age.
He even came out and said stuff about how when he was younger, he was being taken advantage of, which is true. The problem was being a victim of the diddler. What happens? Because he has so much dirt on you, if you go out into the public, he may have videos, he may have embarrassing things, he might even have incriminating footage of you doing things that you were forced to under the influence to do.
Then came the moment that made a lot of people go silent. Hotel surveillance footage from 2016 surfaced showing Combs physically attacking Cassie Ventura. Not a rumor, not someone's cousin's story. Video. Clear, brutal, undeniable. Days later, Combs posted an apology video calling his behavior inexcusable. But by then it was too late, because apologies don't erase what people just watched. And the ugly irony hit hard. Even with video proof, the statute of limitations in Los Angeles meant no assault charges could be filed for something that happened years earlier. So you have evidence, but no legal remedy. And that's the kind of gap that makes people feel like the system protects the wrong people.
Guys, the leaked video of Justin Bieber partying with P. Diddy has just emerged, and it looks horrifying. Bieber was not in his right state of mind. Here's the video.
Oh, he's bad boy now.
Look at that. Whoa, look at that.
It's your icon alert.
Look at that.
It's called.
Does that look normal to you guys? What's going on here? He gets down on his knees, starts drinking. Diddy right there. Look at his eyes.
And this is exactly why Justin Bieber's name keeps getting dragged into the conversation. Old clips of Bieber as a teen hanging around Diddy get reposted like they're evidence in a case that hasn't been filed. People want a clean storyline so badly. They want heroes, villains, victims, accomplices. But here's where it gets messy. Justin Bieber's representative stated that he is not among Diddy's alleged victims, while emphasizing that others were genuinely harmed. That statement hits different, doesn't it? Because it doesn't give the internet the simple ending it wants. It complicates the narrative, and that's uncomfortable.
I'm tired of Usher. I wish somebody would come out and just like sue him. Like, we need Usher. No, we do. We need a victim to come out and be honest about him, because what I'm realizing is that he's going to fake the funk into the victim, man. He's just going to keep on sucking the devil's. And I don't know, like with a baby, that pacifier, sometimes you got to pull it out. You know what I'm saying? And take it away. Right? When the babies used to sucking on the pacifier. That motherfucker gonna keep sucking on that shit until you do what? Till you take it out the mouth. Now it's gonna scream and holler, but eventually it will get used to the fact that his mouth is no longer full with that object. And that it's time to just, learn how to live without it. He been sucking on Diddy's dick a long time. It's time for him to learn how to make this thing happen without the devil's dick in his mouth or ass.
Oh, you don't think if he sued, he'll just Lil Woody the situation and I don't recall? I don't recall.
No, because I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this shit is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator. Seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital, they're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there.
No.
Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him off. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it and managed him and got custody of him and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy?
It's horrible.
Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. What kind of fucking asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be?
But let's talk about the uncomfortable part nobody wants to touch. If this was really a system, then who had the power to say no? Who could have stepped in? Because when fame runs on access, when your career depends on proximity to powerful gatekeepers, the scariest thing isn't the headline. It's the silence that comes before it. It's the awkward jokes people laugh at even though something feels off. It's the moments that get brushed aside because the person in the room has too much leverage.
Usher look like he fresh off a goddamn plane. Usher fresh off the guard stage. That's my brother right here from day one. We used to wake up and pause, but like that's back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented. You know what I'm saying? But it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the frosted flakes because he used to always get up early for me. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And what did Puff just say? Nobody's going to acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes and we're streaming live. That was stupid. Listen, that was stupid. Listen. Having a good time.
Usher is a procurer. And if Usher knew what was going to happen to any of those young children that he took to the Flavor Freak office, he a good guy. Especially considering what happened to him. Especially considering that he sat with Howard Stern and Howard Stern said, would you send your kids to Puffy's Flavor Camp? And his immediate response was, hell no! So it's good enough for everybody else's kids, but it's not good enough for you. Yours are just good enough to die in Lake Lanier with no real investigation. Got it. Like, these aren't good people!
All right, Jeff.
He's not good. He's a... And the simple fact that Justin Bieber literally made a public statement and said, Usher asked me to do the Super Bowl with him and I turned it down.
Run for the hills.
Why would he turn it down? Who turns down the Superboy?
Yeah, well, she's crazy. She's a superstar.
Superstar, right? So, so you're there and you see her and you see the way she's reacting to you. And I wonder what was going through your mind, because I've never had a chance to ask you that, because I know what was going through her mind, because I've never had a chance to ask her that. And it's pretty clear in the video what's going through her mind. She can't even. What was going through your mind when you saw that kind of reaction? And also now in the knowledge that you were just coming out of that space yourself.
I wanted to protect the moment. You know, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get. You know, we never know how many opportunities we're going to get with anybody. I mean, I'm tearing up thinking about it, just with the Kobe situation, you know. Just never know. And so I just wanted to be a good example, you know, and, yeah.
Did you feel protective of her?
Yeah, I definitely feel protective of her. It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, you know, telling me they love me and, you know, just turn their back on you in a second. So yeah, it's hard because I want her to know that, you know, she can count on me, but at the end of the day, I'm never going to force myself to be in a relationship with her. It has to be natural, right? So I just kind of, you know, let her do her thing. And if she ever needs me, I'm going to be here for her. But yeah, just protecting those moments, because people take for granted, encounters and, yeah. So, yeah. I just want to protect her, you know. I don't want her to lose it. I don't want her to, you know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So, yeah, if she ever needs me, I'm just.
And this is where 50 Cent becomes interesting. He's been vocal about Diddy for years, not in a let me start beef for clicks way, but in a something's not right here and I'm not staying quiet way. While others were protecting relationships and business deals, 50 was out here dropping breadcrumbs. And now that federal pressure is real, people are going back through his old posts, his interviews, his jabs, and realizing maybe he wasn't just trolling. Maybe he was one of the few willing to risk industry relationships to say what other people were thinking but wouldn't say out loud.
Justin Bieber, and he was talking about Billie Eilish. And he was like, he was almost in tears. He's like, I just want to protect her. I just want to keep her safe.
Yeah.
What do you think he went through?
Because he knows what's been happening to Billy. Just like everybody knew what was happening to Millie Bobby Brown girl with Drake. These people are monsters. He ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this. He said, I grew up with his parents. I knew his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him. Now, his father was a government snitch and a bad actor in the criminal world altogether. The woman that they're saying is his mother was a prostitute, no whore. But there's whispers in the streets of Harlem that Diddy's mother isn't alive. Not his biological mother, but that woman is his aunt.
Whoa.
There are whispers.
Wait a minute.
There are whispers. Diddy's story is so convoluted, but nobody really likes talking about who he was before he became Puffy. Nobody, like, I would love if I could be granted an interview with him. To interview Diddy now in his most raw state about his life up until the age of 15 only. We got to learn how to stop making ditties. What made him him? Now, his pedigree comes from rat background. His father was a rat, snitch, not revered. He turned on Frank Lucas, who was the king of Harlem. And yet, Diddy was able to, siphon off enough of that juice, just enough to get people, but he needed Gene. Think about this. Gene was more of a father figure to Diddy than he was a bodyguard. And Gene was more than a bodyguard. He was an investigator. So when they went separate ways, clearly.
Because here's the thing about power in entertainment. It doesn't just come from talent or money. It comes from access. Who gets invited to the private events? Who gets the mentorship? Who gets the phone call when opportunities come through? And when one person controls that access, the dynamic shifts. It's not just work hard and you'll make it. It becomes stay quiet, stay close, don't ask questions. And that's where the whole thing gets dangerous. Because the people who benefit from that system have every reason to keep it running exactly as it is.
Looking at any black guys that are A-listers that's bigger than Diddy, is only one that I could come up with. And there's a few I could come up with. Will Smith, he's bigger than Diddy. I would think Nick Cannon is bigger than Diddy. Who else on the black that are black actors or black in the business that's an A-lister that's bigger than Diddy that's black? That's hard to think. But then if you got the A-listers, you got to realize he ran with that that Rat Pack. And I don't want to even say their names because they said I got their names wrong last time. What's his name? Kushner? What's the other guy? Leonardo? Yeah, his name. Man, I don't keep up with these cats. But I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So there's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they're really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's going to be crazy, bro. It's going to be real.
And when you look at the timeline, it's not just about Diddy. It's about how the industry repeatedly puts young artists in situations where they don't have the power to set boundaries. Usher was a teenager living with Diddy. Bieber was a kid being flown out for 48 hours of unexplained hangouts. These weren't random coincidences. These were choices made by adults with influence. And the question that keeps coming up is, why wasn't it fixed? Why did the same pattern keep repeating across generations of stars? And here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Even when the truth starts leaking out, the machine doesn't collapse right away. It hesitates. It protects itself. It waits to see which way public opinion blows before deciding who to cut loose. Because accountability in entertainment isn't automatic. It's strategic. It happens when staying silent becomes more expensive than speaking up. And that's a scary reality, because it means justice often depends on timing, not truth. Now, let's be clear about something. Bieber hasn't publicly accused Diddy of anything. His team made that explicit. But what people are noticing is the pattern of behavior, the emotional toll visible in interviews years later, the way Bieber talks about protecting younger artists from what he went through. You don't have to name someone to make it obvious that something went wrong, and that's the cost nobody talks about. The years of therapy, the trust issues, the way trauma shows up long after the headlines fade. And this isn't about playing judge and jury, that's what the courtroom is for, but what we can talk about is the human impact, the documented scrutiny, the limits of what's provable versus what people experienced, because the legal system has a narrow lens. It asks, can we prove this specific crime beyond reasonable doubt? But the broader conversation is about systemic harm, about environments that allowed things to happen in the first place, about the people who saw something and said nothing because their careers depended on it. So when 50 Cent announces he's working on a documentary about all of this, it's not just celebrity gossip. It's someone with industry access and a platform choosing to put the uncomfortable questions on the record. And whether you think he's doing it for the right reasons or not, the fact remains, he's willing to go there when a lot of other people aren't. He's willing to risk relationships, business deals, and industry goodwill to say, this needs to be examined. And that brings us to the real thesis here. The intersection of 50 Cent's warnings, Diddy's alleged actions, and Justin Bieber's trajectory isn't just about three people. It's about a repeating system problem. It's about an industry that rewards silence and punishes honesty. It's about young talent being treated as commodities instead of people. And it's about the gap between what everyone knows and what anyone is willing to say out loud. Because here's what keeps me up at night. If the same patterns keep repeating across generations of stars, if the same power dynamics, the same access games, the same whispered warnings keep showing up, at what point do we stop acting like it's just one bad person and start asking why the machine keeps producing the same outcome? And more importantly, who benefits from us staying distracted by individual scandals instead of fixing the system that creates them?